Hello everyone and welcome to today's tutorial. In today's tutorial, I'm going to be teaching you how you can secure your WordPress website from hackers on the internet. As you all know, it's a thing to create a website and it is another thing to make sure your website doesn't get hacked by hackers on the internet. So we're going to be using a free plugin called iThemes security plugin in this tutorial to enable some basic security measures for our website. These security measures are more than enough to keep our website safe from hackers. So without wasting much time, let's get right into the tutorial. So first thing we need to do is to visit the login area of our website. So we're going to do that by coming here and typing in WP admin, and here this is where we can log in into our websites. And as you can see, it is a very easy way for hackers to get a login page of our website because all WordPress websites has the login page of WP-admin. So that is where we're going to start from. But before then, let's just log into our website right now. I'm going to take this remember me option and then we're going to log in. Okay, so we are right inside our dashboard now. And what we're going to do now is to click on plugins and then we're going to click on add new. And either we're going to search for a plugin called iThemes. So we're searching for iThemes security and we're going to install the plugin. And when we finish installing the plugin, we're going to activate the plugin. Okay, so the plugin has been installed successfully and then we've successfully activated the plugin. Now let's start securing our WordPress website. Now while on your plugins page, we're going to see settings right here under iThemes security. So click on settings and this is where we can start securing our website with just few clicks. So let's start. Alright, so what type of websites are we having here? For my own case, this is just let's say a blog or a simple website to showcase my craft. So I'm just going to choose portfolio in this case. Okay, so the first option we have here, it says enable security check pro. It says it detects the correct way to identify user IP addresses based on server configuration by making an API request to iThemes.com server. So I'm going to advise you to take this option. So we're going to check this option and then we're going to click on next. Alright, so it says who are we setting up this website for, this plugin for. So you can either choose self, or if you're making this for a client, you can choose client. But for this tutorial, we're setting this plugin for ourselves. So we're going to choose self, and yes, let's get started. So it says, do you want to secure your user? Do you want to secure your user account with a password policy? And when you do this, it says when you secure your website with a password policy, iThemes security will require them to create a strong password that hasn't already been compromised. So this is going to make their account safe. So any hacker can just come and then apply some sort of brute force attacks on their accounts to guess their password. So we're going to take this option and then we're going to click on next. Alright, so right here we have three options under the features for the login security. So first thing, it says two-factor. Two-factor authentication greatly increases the security of your WordPress user account by requiring additional information beyond your username and password in order to log in. So the common way in which two-factor authentication works is that when you input your username and then your password, a code is going to be sent to your email address or your phone number. It depends on the option they have available. So you actually need to copy that code and paste into your login page before the system can approve your login into this website. So if you want to enable two-factor authentication on your website, I'm going to advise you to take this option. Now let's move to the second tab here. It says local brute force. Protect your site against hackers that are trying randomly guess login details to your site. Make sure this is checked, this is turned on too, and also network brute force. Make sure this is also on. Now for the last part, it says utilities, and also make sure this one is on too. And let's click on next. Alright, so it says user groups, and this is going to allow us to enable security features for a specific set of users. But in this tutorial, we're going to just use the defaults because it is recommended and it has already been made to work well with our WordPress users. So we're going to start with default groups. Okay, so for the administrators, we can edit the group and then we can turn on some features, and we can either turn on or turn off some features for them. So for the administrator, let's start from the features. For the global settings, we're going to allow them to manage iThemes security because the administrator is the highest level in WordPress user hierarchy. So we're going to enable all options for them. Now, okay, we're going to enable dashboard creation for admin also, and also password requirements. All administrators must use strong password, and also all administrators, the system must refuse compromised passwords for all administrators. So compromised passwords are passwords that are known to be easy to guess by hackers. So the system won't allow them to use such password on with their accounts. Now moving on to the last option that says two-factor. So do you want to skip two-factor onboarding when you create an account for an administrator? Do you want to skip the two-factor onboarding when they want to log in into your account? You can either turn this on or turn this off. So I'm going to turn this off because I want them to actually set up their two-factor authentication when they are trying to gain access into their admin profile. And also we're going to leave this turned on. Application password, it says use application password to allow authentication without providing your actual password when using non-traditional logins method such as XML, RPC or the REST API. So we're going to move to next. And also you can decide to turn on some options here or either turn the options off. Like I said, the default settings for this WordPress, for this plugin, is very okay, and you don't actually need to edit anything right here. Everything is actually good to go. You can just follow their default setting and then your website is going to be secured, and you can have peace of mind, and then you know that your website can be easily hacked by any hacker on the internet. So we're just going to click on next so we can just check every other thing here, and let's just skip user groups and let's move to the next option. So the configuration settings, we're going to use the recommended settings for that they made for us. So let's move on. Now for the authorized hosts, so it says enter a list of hosts that should not be logged out by iThemes security. So here what we can do is that we can set some commands for these plugins that when a user does this type of thing, make sure you ban the IP address. So by mistake you might also do that same command you gave the plugin, and then the plugin might ban you from visiting your websites. So what you can now do in this case is that you can copy your IP address and paste it right here so that this plugin will never ban your IP address. So what we can now do is that we can click on check IP. Okay, and it says this is our IP address, and then we're going to just paste it here, and whatever we do, this plugin will not ban our IP address. So we can just add our IP address to the authorized host list. So I just duplicated this, so let me just delete one out of it. Okay, so what we can now do is to click on next, and API configuration, you can put your admin email address here so as to receive the API configuration for this plugin, and you can also decide to receive email updates from this plugin. And we're not going to input our email address here. You can just do that because when you using this plugin on your website. So the next thing we're going to do is to just move on to the next part, and we're just going to click on continue, and we're going to click on secure sites. So this plugin is automatically going to apply several instructions that we've used, the default instruction that we used from this plugin, and then our website is going to be secure, and then it is not going to be easy for an hacker to just suddenly get access to our website. So we're just going to click on finish, and then it says good work, your site is more secure than ever. You can now move on with other things in your life. So that is not all. We have some things we also need to do. Now let's click on settings. All right, so here under settings, we're going to come here to click on advanced, and you can see some other settings here that we didn't see when we were setting up this plugin. So under system tweaks, we're going to leave everything as it is, and then we're going to check WordPress tweaks, and also we're going to leave everything as it is. So you can either disable this XML RPC because it doesn't actually have any usefulness, but if you're going to be using services like the Jetpack plugin, the WordPress mobile apps, and then some pingbacks, you need to enable this XML RPC. So you can just leave that as it is, and I'm just going to leave everything as it is also. And under the users, there are certain things you can enable. So you can enable them to log in with email address or username, and for this case we are choosing both email address and then username. And you can also force unique username for your users. So it says this forces users to use a unique username, a unique nickname rather, when updating their profile or creating a new account, which prevents bots and attackers from easily harvesting user login usernames from the code on the author pages. Note, this does not automatically update existing users as it will affect the author field URL if used. So we can decide to tick this option, and we can decide to just leave it as it is. And also it says disable users author page if their post count is 0. This makes it harder for bots to determine usernames by disabling post archives for users that don't write content for your site. So you can also tick this option, and you can tick this option too if you're interested in using this feature. So what we're going to do now is to click on save. All right, so the last part that says hide backend. And you remember when we were logging into our website, I said it's going to be easy for hackers to know how to gain access to our login page for our admin area when you're using WordPress, because it simply says WP admin, and that is known by everybody that if you want to log into a WordPress admin, you want to log into your WordPress admin dashboard, you're going to use WP admin. So what we're going to do now is to hide the backend. So just tick this option. All right, so the login slug, we're going to change it to something else. So you can just say the WPBRO login, and anytime we want to log into our website, this is what we're going to be using instead of WP admin. And also you can change the register slug to something like register, and whenever they visit the old login URL, where do you want them to be redirected to? So on the default settings, it's going to tell them that the page is not found, but we're just going to do something. We're going to type in home, and it's going to redirect them to the home page. Now let's click on save, and now we successfully saved these settings. Now let's click on this second option that says tools, and here we just have some other features and other settings that we can choose here. So it says identify server IPs, and we don't really need to do anything here. We can just leave it as it is, and we can move on with other important things. All right, so now we can even take a step further into this plugin and configure some settings so as to make this plugin work very well for our websites. Now what we're going to do is to click on this configure tab here, and here we have some other settings we can configure for this plugin. Now let's start with lockout. Make sure this one is checked. We don't need to uncheck it because it's going to we need to check this so that this plugin is going to work very well. So just leave it as it is. Now moving on to lockout. How many minutes do you want? How many minutes to lock out on your website? Now it says the length of a time a host or user will be logged out from this site after hitting the limit of bad logins. The default settings of 15 minutes is recommended, as increasing it could prevent attackers from being banned. So we're just going to leave it as the recommended minutes, which is 15 minutes. You can decrease it, but don't let it exceed 15 minutes. Now, how many days do you want to remember this lockout? So when a user is banned on your website, how many days should they be banned before you can actually unban them and then they can use your website as a normal user? So we're going to remember this ban for 7 days. You can make it 3 days, you can make it 20 days, any days you want, but we're going to use 7 days. So a user is going to be banned for 7 days on our website. Now to the third option that says ban repeated offender. So if somebody has been logged out on your website for a specified amount of time, do you want to ban them completely from visiting your website? So we're going to check this option. And when a user has been logged out for more than 3 times on our website, because we put the threshold there to 3 times, they're going to be banned permanently from our website. Now we can also configure the lockout messages. It says the host lockout message. This is what is going to display error. The message to display when a computer, or also known as host, has been logged out. So you can just type in you are logged out, contact the support team, or any other message like that. But default settings, we have error here. So it says user lockout message, and the message to display to user when their account has been logged out. You can also say you have been logged out due to invalid login attempts. Contact the support team through the email, and then it's going to enable them to contact you easily. And it says community lockout message. The message to display to user when their IP has been flagged bad as the iThemes network. Your IP address has been flagged as a threat by the iThemes security network. You can also decide to edit this to maybe your website, let's say the WPBRO security team, just to make it look like a branded stuff, you know. So moving on to the authorized host, we've actually added that when we were setting up this plugin earlier on. So we can also, click this button to add it here again. So it says automatically temporarily authorize hosts. Whenever an administrator user accesses the website, the iThemes security will prevent locking out that computer for 24 hours. So we're just going to add our hosts here. So we are saved. Okay, now to log in, how should event logs be kept? We're just going to choose database only. You can choose file only, and you can choose both depending on what you want to use. But we're going to be using database only, and it says the database only puts all the events in the database with your post and other WordPress data. This makes it easy to retrieve and process, but can be slower if the database table gets very large. And it says file only is very fast, but the plugin does not process the log itself, as it will take far more resources. So we can just use database only. But if you have a very large site or a log processing software, then file only might be better option for you. So for this website, we're going to be using database only. And also it says days to keep database logs. For the default setting, it says 60 days. If you want to keep it for 10 days, you can specify it here. If you want to keep it for 5 days, you can specify it here. Just put in the number of days you want. Alright, so it says IP detection. We're using automatic, which says insecure. You can use this security check scan, which is recommended by the plugin itself. So it says UI tweaks, hide the security menu bar. We actually don't need this option. Just let us save changes. Alright, now moving on to login security. Okay, so it says authentication method available to users, all methods. We're going to leave it as it is. And setup flow, we're going to just leave this also as it is. And let's just move on to the next stage that says lockout. Alright, so you can see this option here. Okay, before we move on to this, please let's see whether we didn't skip anything. Okay, let's move back to lockouts. You see this option here that says default ban list. It says as a getting started point, you should include the hackrepair.com ban list developed by Jim Walker. So there are some ban lists that have been created by some security teams that are known, like a list of people that are known for hacking websites. So we can just take this option to add them to the ban list of your website, so you're going to be even more secure on the internet. So moving on to local brute force, we're also going to tick this option. It says automatically ban admin user. So on a default, when you are creating a WordPress website, you always have a username that is called admin, and your password is called pass, if I can remember very well. So it is recommended for you to change that username by the time you create your website. So when you tick this option, anybody that is trying to guess your username and the person to use admin, they're going to be completely banned from your website. So we're going to tick this option, automatically ban admin user. Now, moving on to login attempts. It says mark login attempts per host, and it says the number of login attempts a user has before their host or computer is logged out of the system. Set to 0 to record bad login attempts without locking out the host. So we're just going to give them 3. So by the time they make a bad login, they're going to get a warning that they will be logged out. And then by the time they make a bad login 3 times, they're going to be logged out from your website. And also for the user, we're going to set 3 also. And then minutes to remember a bad login. And it says 5 minutes. You can change this to, let's say, 60 minutes, which is 1 hour. And depending on how you want your website to be secured, you can just configure these settings based on your own personal preference. Now let's click on save. Okay, to the last one that says network brute force, we can just leave it as it is. And let's click on this last option that says utilities. Alright, so this plugin also has a backup feature, but I actually showed you guys in one of my tutorials how to back up your website, and we used Updraft Plus plugin in that tutorial. You can actually watch the video on my channel to learn how you can back up your website, because the plugin was created to back up your websites, and that is what I'm going to be recommending for you. So you can just leave this option as it is, but then if you want to use this plugin to back up your website, what you need to do is very simple. Just tick this option, and then the backup intervals, it says the number of days between database backup. If you want the backup every day, just change it to 1 day. If you want it every 3 days, just change it to 3 days. And backup method, we're going to use email only. So after each backup, your file is going to be sent to your email address, and then it's going to be compressed for you, so it's going to be easy to download and then upload when you want to restore your backup. So I'm just going to uncheck this, and I'm going to okay, I don't need to save changes since I didn't make any new adjustments here. And let's just see whether we didn't miss any other option. Alright, so under notifications, we're just going to leave everything as it is. Site locales, we're going to leave everything as it is, and we're just going to leave everything as it is. So, and under the features, we've actually seen all these before. And alright, we don't actually have much thing to do right here. So we've actually come to the end of this tutorial, and then I've showed you how you can easily secure your website within few minutes, and then you can be rest assured that your website is secured, and then nobody can actually hack your website and then gain access to your website without your own consent. And if you want to manage everything concerning this plugin, they have a dashboard area. Just click on this dashboard, and here you can see list of people that have been banned on your website. If you want to unban them, you can do that from that area. For example, you can see the brute force attack you have on your website, and you can see the list of banned users here, and you can scan your websites too, and you can just maintain and control everything about this plugin right from this dashboard. And also we have this logs page that contains every log of every event that has been going on your website, so you can easily monitor everything that is going on your website, and then make sure your website is completely safe and secure on the internet. So thank you for watching this video. If you enjoyed this video and you learned a new thing in this video, please be sure to give a like to this video and also subscribe to my YouTube channel for more helpful tutorials like this. And when you subscribe, make sure to turn on post notifications so that you'll be notified anytime I release a new video. And until next time, peace out.